Dear students, Om Shanti, wishing you a very good day. A woman has to play several roles in her lifetime. The role of a daughter is one of the most complex roles that she has to play. We have a very beautiful, a very touching poem, My Mother at 66, written by a prolific writer, Kamala Das. Kamala Das was a leading Malayalam author from Kerala. Her popularity is chiefly based on short stories. She has been able to capture almost all the emotions in the poem My Mother at 66, in which a daughter is filled with emotions while bidding farewell to her mother, the aged mother. This poem touches upon the themes of aging and complex human relationships. Let us read through the poem and understand what the poet is going to say about why being a daughter is so complex. So I begin with the reading of the poem, My Mother at 66 by Kamala Das. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. Doors, open-mouthed, her face ashen like that of a corpse. And realized with pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. But after the airport's security check, standing a few yards away, I looked at her, worn, pale as a late winter's moon, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, "See you soon, Amma." All I did was smile and smile and smile. So that was the reading of the poem. I'm sure, children, that in the very first observation, you must have understood that the poem is written in free verse because there is no rhyming scheme and it is a long sentence without any full stop. The poet is trying to narrate the thought one after the other as and when it comes into her mind. So now let us go through the paraphrasing of the poem and let us see what we can understand as to what poet is trying to tell us. The poet is at her parents' home. She must have come and spent a long holiday out there. And now she is going back to Cochin, to the airport. Her old, aged mother is traveling with her in a car. It's then the poet suddenly realizes that her mother has fallen asleep beside her. And when she glances at her, she is shocked to see how old, frail, and grey her mother looks. Indeed, her mother is no longer a young woman, and she is realizing that she is now a woman of 66. So what does the poet do at this moment? Let's read between the lines. But soon put that thought away and looked out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. She shudders here. She does not want to stay, but then she shudders. Maybe, and then she puts that thought away and begins to look out of the window. The car is speeding ahead. The poet is noticing that the young trees are sprinting that is moving very fast in the opposite direction. And that is obvious of the symbol of growth, vitality, vigor and energy. Not only that, when she looks out again, she sees that the young merry children, they are spilling out of their homes, gushing out of their homes. It shows that these children are full of vitality, youth, energy, enthusiasm. And again we have the device of contrast, where the poet shows the old age against the youth. Now, in the third stanza, but after the airport's security check. Then, after a point of time, they ultimately reach the airport. As you know, at the airport, the poet here is engaged in completing the formality as it is required. The security check, the baggage check, etc. Then, suddenly, she realized, okay, my mother is with me. And when she looks back, she sees that her mother is having very poor appearance. She is extremely pained to see the appearance of her mother. Although the poet's mother is not suffering with any kind of fatal disease. There is no mention of any disease here in the poem. Yet, seeing her appearance, she is quite nervous. We can read between the lines. We can make out that maybe indeed poet's mother may be coming towards her end. Then we can see the use of a very beautiful comparison, very beautiful simile. You can see in the line, wan, pale as a late winter's moon. She compares her mother to the waning moon. Waning moon is a symbol of approaching death. Now, what does the poet do? Can she stay back? Can she forgo her commitments and responsibilities? We are not aware of whether she has a family, whether she has her husband or children to tend to, whether she has to rush back to her job. But the situation is so difficult to handle, so grim to handle, that she wants to stay. But she cannot wait a single moment later. She has her obligations and her commitments to fulfill. Now in the next line, and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. At this point of time, she feels that old familiar ache. The familiar ache revisits her. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. See you soon, Amma is so loaded with emotion and meaning that if you read between the lines, you may also be loaded with emotions. Why? Because she may be thinking that if she comes to see her next time, will she be alive? But all I did was smile, smile and smile. But you see here, she just wants to reassure herself and also wants more to reassure her mother. Therefore, she gives here a formal parting, an unemotional kind of parting. And so, in the final lines, she says, all I did was smile and smile and smile. Here, the poet is emphasizing that the smile is quite hollow, quite artificial. She is helpless at this moment. She cannot change her travel plans at this point of time. And this always happens with children. When they find that their elderly parents are having some problems, they do not want to leave their parents, they want to stay along with them, which is not possible because they have their commitments and their responsibilities. And one cannot be away from the responsibilities and the commitments. So I am sure that you must have understood here the complex human relationships. What I have explained over here according to the feelings of the poet. I would once again like to touch upon another theme, aging. The first one was the complex human relationships, and here you have seen the complex relationship between a daughter and a mother. And at the same time you will be finding the another theme, that is aging, which is a natural process and it will affect each one of us. But that the complexity of life is that the children are perturbed by the condition of their elderly parents and they wish to stay along with them. The question arises here, how to strike a balance between looking after the aging parents and attending to our elderly parents, our duties and responsibilities. Om Shanti.